Hey guys, and welcome back. I want to give you a bite-sized phase 2 guide for Shadow Priest without any of the BS, so let's get straight into it. So this is the talent tree setup that I'm going to be using. I'm not going to talk about what every single talent does because you guys probably already know, and if not, you can read them in your own time. I think the only ones worth mentioning on here that might be a little controversial is that I prefer not to go into Improve Vampiric Embrace, rather have extra range from Shadow Reach, and as well as that, only 2 out of 5 in Shadow Focus. I used to think that this was an incredibly good talent that you needed 5 out of 5 in at all times, but because the mobs in both Gnomeregan and BFD are only 2 levels above us, we actually cap out on hit at 5%. So if you put 2 in here, you get 4%. It's easy to get 1% hit from gear, so you don't need the rest of talent points being wasted. Onto the runes then. On the chest, continue using Void Plague unless the mob's immune to Void Plague like a lot of elementals are, in which case use Twisted Faith instead. On the hands, go Shadow Word Death. I did recommend Penance in the past, but now Shadow Word Death only deals 50% of its damage back to you as the caster, so definitely take Shadow Word Death at all times. It does so much damage. We get a new rune slot now on the waist. Go for Mind Spike. This will replace Mind Flay, hence why I haven't put it in the talent tree. On the legs, continue using Homunculi. It's an incredibly powerful rune, really nice debuffs, does a bit of damage, can't go wrong. And again, a new rune on the feet, we get Dispersion, which while it looks like it's only a defensive cooldown, actually it gives 36% of your mana back over 6 seconds, which is incredibly good in PvE. For our consumables, we're going to want to use a Lesser Arcane Elixir, Sagefish Delight, and Greater Mana Potions. Swap out the Greater Mana Potion though if you have Alchemy and use a mildly irradiated Rejuvenation Potion instead. For the stat priority, we're going to want to get 5% hit. As mentioned earlier, you get 4 of that from talents. Getting only 1% from gear should take care of itself. Then you're going to want spell crit, then spell damage or shadow damage, and finally intellect. For our professions then, we're absolutely going to want tailoring because of the new helm in phase 2, the Neuro-linked Arcano-Filament Monocle. This helm has absolutely incredible stats, but also a ridiculous 10-minute cooldown, which reduces the mana cost of all spells by 50% and increases spell damage by 50 for 12 seconds. Alongside tailoring, you're going to want either Enchanting for the Enchanted Sigil Innovation, essentially an item that allows you to have a permanent 20 spell power, or Alchemy, which as mentioned earlier gives you access to the mildly irradiated Rejuvenation Potion, which not only restores mana but also increases spell damage by 35 for 15 seconds. For our gear, I had recorded this entire section going through every single item pre-BIS and BIS, but I value your time, so I'm just going to leave the links to it in the description below so you can look at it with ease. The rotation will be something like this. You're going to want to precast Mind Blast as it's a high damage and relatively mana efficient spell. Getting it on cooldown as quickly as possible is a good idea. Put up both your dots, Shadow Word Pain and Void Plague, use Shadow Word Death, use Homunculi, and then begin casting Mind Spikes. From this point on, you're just going to want to follow a simple priority list. Keep your Homunculi on cooldown, keep Shadow Word Death on cooldown, maintain both your dots on the target, use Mind Blast when the target's got 3 Mind Spike debuffs, use Mind Spike as a filler, and use Shadowfiend and Dispersion whenever you require mana. And of course you can weave in racial abilities whenever you see fit. For example, as a Troll Priest, I'd use Berserking together with Shadowfiend as they're both on a 3-minute cooldown. And just a quick note on Shadowfiend, if you guys aren't sure how to get it, it drops from Scarlet Monastery across several mobs in pretty much all of the different Scarlet Monastery instances. The only problem is, it's being recorded at a drop rate sometimes as low as 0.1%. Honestly, I wouldn't go out of my way to farm this, I'd just hope that it drops when I do Scarlet Monastery generally, because I think it's something that they'll probably hotfix in future because that drop rate is insanely low. So that's it guys, everything you need to know for Shadow Priest. If you've got any other questions, let me know in the comments. I'm expecting big things from Shadow Priest in phase 2, especially once we start getting gear. So if you want to see more Shadow Priest content, then please hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.